YouTube, boxing YouTube, all across the motherfucking universe. What's happening, what it is. Yo, boxing after dark, but nocturnal thoughts. Coming at you with a real quick video. Congratulations to the young warrior, Virgil Ortiz. Showed up, showed out against Maurice Hooker, came out victorious. You know what I'm saying? Took some scrapes, some bumps, and some bruises. And I really like his post-fight interview. I think he gave an honest assessment of his performance. And of course, we all know he's calling out the best. He's calling out Terrence Bud Crawford, ready or not. You know what I'm saying? And that's not whether Terrence Bud Crawford is ready or not, but he's actually speaking about himself. He says it doesn't matter to him whether he's ready or not. He wants to take that chance. You know what I'm saying? It's like walking out on fate. That's like taking a leap of faith, and that's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going out there. I'ma learn. If I get beat, I'm gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? If I go out there and I win, you still need to get better. But if you go out there and he wins against Terrence Bud Crawford, that's making a statement. Now, based on his fight against Maurice Hooker, the obvious thing is the experience of Terrence Bud Crawford is going to be too much. He's going to overwhelm the young kid. He's going to teach him a thing or two about a thing or two. And that's all good. You know what I'm saying? That's how you become great. You got to go out there and you got to fight the best to be the best. You don't always have to go out there and beat the best to be the best, but you do have to fight the best to become the best. Period, point blank. And you might, you know what I'm saying, he might only get the opportunity to fight him one time. So if he get a opportunity, a shot, then he might as well take his shot while he has the opportunity if it's there. But most people talking about Errol Spence. They did a quick little interview with, Derrick James and Errol Spence after the fight, and a quick little interview with Terrence Bud Crawford. I didn't even see what Terrence Bud Crawford said. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and check it out later on when I get the chance. But he said something like, you know what I'm saying, I'm moving past that. I'm going on to, you know what I'm saying, the next fight, which is, he's been saying that for a while, and that makes sense to me. And Terrence and Errol Spence was saying like the same type, he said, Terrence Bud Crawford going to have his hands full with Virgil Ortiz. But he didn't confirm. He didn't confirm he was going to be fighting Terrence Bud Crawford. He said, yeah, that fight's going to come, I don't know, maybe. Kind of nonchalant, kind of blowed it off. And I guess, that's what's putting people the next day, yesterday, when I had some time, I was watching a few channels that I, enjoy to watch. And only a couple, matter of fact. I didn't have a lot of time yesterday. But the few, first, Blood. I was on Blood boxing. I think that's one of the triple OGs on this YouTube boxing game. I think, matter of fact, that's the furthest dated. He's the dinosaur. He's the one of the originators from what I know. I'm pretty sure there's others out there, but Blood boxing is the OG on the boxing. You know what I'm saying? And I was late to his channel. He probably about a year ago, so I've been trying to catch up. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to watch it. I'll be watching stuff that he did years ago, and then I watched some that he did recently. So it's, you know what I'm saying, it's I appreciate Blood's intake on boxing, period, point blank. I think he's respectable. He has his own character. He don't sugarcoat. He does what he does. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully in the future, me and him get a chance to collaborate, or, you know what I'm saying, at least have a conversation to sharpen each other up, even though I salute to the Blood. Ain't no doubt about it. I remember listening to him when he used to do the morning situation with Fanon International. So, he's the type of guy to me that he's like me as far as lone wolf. You know what I'm saying? He'll renegade against anybody. He'll renegade against, everybody and stand alone. And that's just kind of how I am too, man. I don't need to be a part of the clique. I don't need to be a part of a group. I don't need to be a part of a organ. I stand alone. I always have been the type of person that just was a loner, was a lone wolf, or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, Blood was like, he don't like Errol Spence, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. Everybody entitled to their opinion. He don't like Errol Spence. He went crazy on Errol Spence the other day, man. Calling him a pussy, and you know what I'm saying? He ain't got no money. He only worth 7-8 million. And, all to say pretty much that him and Terrence Crawford need to fight. In his opinion, Terrence Bud Crawford has done what he needs to do to, lay down the gauntlet. But Errol Spence is the one that's holding up the fight. And I heard a lot of people say that opinion too. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where, man, I ain't going to jump all into whose fault this ain't happening, that ain't happening. Shit don't got to happen the way I think it's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. I let shit unravel and fold out the way it's going to happen. And then I try to enjoy the entertainment. Now, if the shit don't happen at all, then I'm going to look at it like, now, why didn't that ever happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, I left one comment on Blood's channel, on his live chat, and I mistyped. To clarify myself, I mistyped. I put down, I meant to put down, I can't call Errol Spence pussy. But if this fight doesn't happen, you know what I'm saying, down the line, then I smell, you know the rest. But what I ended up typing was, I call Errol Spence pussy, something like that. I know I looked at it and said, damn, I wish I can go back and edit that real quick. But I was busy, man. I was multitasking and I just typed it like that. Anyways, to clarify myself, right now, no way, shape, form, or fashion do I see Errol Spence as a pussy. Can't do it, won't do it, not right now. Nah. And I seen some other guy. I never really watched his channel before. It's my first time even seeing his channel, but I give everybody a fair shake. I might click on this dude's channel and subscribe. So far, I haven't. I think his name is Coach K, and I go through and give anybody a fair chance. But he came out and he's like, Errol Spence is a bitch, and he was like going on and on. He's been calling Errol Spence a bitch since day one. He's been a bitch. He called him out. He don't like the way he moved. Don't like the way he looked. Don't like, he's all this shit. I don't like he's a abuser. So, like I said, everybody got their opinion. And this is just my opinion. I can't look at Errol Spence like no bitch. Like no bitch or no pussy. Not right now. Now, if first of all, I think both of them right now are both, if you're going to be calling somebody a bitch, to me, they both kind of acting like a little bit higher on a horse than both of them are. Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence are, to me, both in the same position to where neither one of those guys are really just, the most impressive, ferocious, baddest motherfuckers walking on a planet like that. I don't see it like that. Not from neither one of them. I respect and I like both of those guys. I like Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. I always favor Errol Spence to beat Terrence Bud Crawford, but that was 2 years ago, and time changes shit. Right now, look at that fight, and I don't even know how it would play out. But I still lean towards Errol Spence, but at the same time, I could see him losing to Terrence Bud Crawford if you don't come correct, period, point blank. And he has to come correct, and he has to stay correct before he even get there. And he can't afford to be on some bullshit like he was when he went up in there with Mikey Garcia and went up in there against Sean Porter. You got to put it all together. He has to be able to put everything together. You got to have the best performance of his career. And that goes for Terrence Bud Crawford, even double that. Because in my mind, Terrence Bud Crawford hasn't faced the adversity at the welterweight division that's prepared him for the best version of Spence. You know what I'm saying? Now, half-ass Spence coming there, the Spence that's coming in there with the mind frame and the training ethic that he had against Mikey Garcia and maybe even Sean Porter, I think Terrence Bud Crawford would dust him. And if he came in there with that, but if he came in with all of his tools sharp, and he was in the same mentality he had when he fought Kell Brook, and he's added new wrinkles to his game from that point. If he hasn't regressed from the time he fought Kell Brook, if he's progressed and he's become a better fighter, which I don't know yet. It's hard to gauge whether or not Errol Spence has become a better fighter since he fought Kell Brook. He's had one step forward, one step back, one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, car crash, a bunch of steps back, then a bunch of steps forward to beat Danny Garcia, which I will take my hat off to that, because that's one reason why I cannot call Errol Spence no bitch. You cannot go through no car accident, fuck up your face, knock out your teeth, have every bone and muscle in your body hurting, your back hurting, your legs hurting, your hips hurting, You know what I'm saying? I don't know if motherfuckers ain't never broke no leg or broke no arm or had a neck injury or a back injury or whatever. But if you had any kind of point in your life where your body had to heal itself mentally and physically to come back and fight a guy like Danny Garcia and put the food fops on him and wash him out like that, ain't no bitch can do that. I don't care what you think about Danny Garcia. Ain't no bitch can go through that type of rehab to where you got to retrain your whole body to become a machine, get in there with Danny Garcia, and then basically dominate him every round with basic jabs and shit, and then come out there talking about he a bitch. That's not a bitch made motherfucker's gonna fold mentally, period. He not even gonna fight. He not even gonna make the fight. He's gonna retire. He's gonna bow out. He's gonna say, look, man, I just came up from a car accident. The motherfucker have a toothache, a cavity, and bow out. I didn't see motherfuckers have a thumb sprain and come out of the fight. I done seen people stub their toe or have a hand injury or a wrist injury or a back. I done seen motherfuckers pull out fights for so many reasons. Tony Harrison pulled out of the fight with Jamel Charlo because his ankle was bothering him. I mean, ain't nobody gonna go through no. And I know people want to downplay and just look at the car accident and just say, oh man, he was a drunk and this and this. You know, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, ain't none of y'all motherfuckers ever did no drunk driving. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, come on, man. I'm 41 years old, dude. When I was 16, 17, 18, I'm lucky to be alive. If I was going to be trying to throw stones at somebody for drunk driving, man, or drunken under the influence of anything, anything. Get the fuck out of here, man. Please be for real. Be honest with yourself. Ain't nobody perfect. Everybody got advice and everybody that made some kind of mistakes. That's how you live and you learn and you grow. You know what I'm saying? Bo Mac said Errol Spence ain't shit because a drunk ain't shit. Come on, bro, Bo Mac. You ain't got no vices. You mean to tell me your ass can't control the way you fucking eat? As far as I'm concerned, a sin is a sin is a sin. Drinking and driving, drinking is a sin, but God turned water into wine, right? You know what I'm saying? What he say? The seven deadly sins. One of them is gluttony, right? You ain't got no problem being greedy and gluttonous and eating too much. That's a sin. Gambling is a sin. Terrence Bud Crawford, he took a shot to the dome. He came back from that. I give him nothing but credit and props from coming back from a gunshot wound, a graze to the dome. That could have ended anybody's life and let alone their career. He came back with a grazed dome from a bullet. But what was he doing in that situation? How did he get there? From gambling. Is gambling not a sin? Come on, man. We all live in sin on a daily basis. If gambling is a sin, didn't Jesus go into the temple and start turning over tables because everybody was in there gambling and shit? And he said, this is a place of God. Come on, man. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And when you're young, you get some money and some fame, and you got to try to figure out a way to finagle all that shit, you're going to drop a ball here and there. Learn how to pick it back up and then get your rhythm back and keep going. Don't no bitch motherfucker come back from shit like gunshots wound to the head. Matter of fact, don't no bitch motherfucker come be a type of person that let an eating disorder and overweight make him, you know what I'm saying, not be able to survive through life. You can be overweight and have an eating disorder and still be a bad motherfucker trying to figure out how to be the best you can be of yourself and live with your situation and try to be a better person on a regular basis. Ain't nobody perfect and ain't nobody goddamn to be sitting there trying to judge nobody else. I got plenty of fucking flaws. I try to wake up every day and improve myself. And the days I don't improve myself, I say, you know what, man, it was a hell of a day. I'm gonna get out here and do a best job I can tomorrow. But I ain't trying to call nobody no bitch. Based off of what you do, who you are, how is you going to measure up to somebody and say they're a bitch versus what you are and what you do? What you did that's so much more better and so much more masculine and so much more tough and so much more fucking, you know what I'm saying, manlier and anti-bitch than what this person did. Besides, he didn't fight who you wanted him to fight, when you wanted him to fight him, or he a pussy. Even to you, blood, no disrespect, but you said this man is a pussy. What have you done that was so anti-pussy that you can look at this man dead in his eye and call him a pussy and not look at yourself in the mirror and say, but I'm not pussy? Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody every day wake up with some kind of challenge they got to overcome, period, point blank. And if you wake up and you make it through that obstacle and you make it through that challenge, then you a man going through what men go through. A pussy is a motherfucker that just don't go through the challenge. In my book, this is my opinion. A pussy is the one that just folds, goes into a corner and cries and keep coming up to the same goal, looking up at it and saying it's too much. I'm not even going to make it the attempt. You know what I'm saying? Even a motherfucker that make the attempt and they fail, to me, is not even pussy because they tried. So me just got different definitions of pussy. We got different definitions of bitch. As a matter of fact, I don't even look at no motherfucker pussy and say pussy is weak, because pussy is stronger than balls any day. Balls is the weakest thing on a man's body. You can just fucking thump a ball and a motherfucker crumble to his knees in pain. A pussy can take a beating. You can hit a pussy all day long. That motherfucker turn around and have a baby spit out that shit and it can keep on going. Men can't do none of that shit. So I don't even be looking at women a pussy and say a pussy is that. But I know it's a figurative of speech. I'll let you have it. I don't even look at it as a bitch. Now, maybe a bitch a little bit different, but a bitch is a bad motherfucking female. You know, it's a female in heat, or it's a dog version of a female. But yeah, I do like as a bitch as more of a derogatory and more of a demasculating term. But I ain't gonna be calling no man no bitch. First of all, they always say it takes one to know one. Second of all, people say, you know what I'm saying, it take a real motherfucker recognize real. If a real recognize real, to me, only a bitch can recognize a bitch. I don't really recognize dudes as no bitches. I don't even see you. You're not on my radar. I don't even understand. If you're the type of motherfucker that's a bitch, I really can't be around you or listen to you or entertain you or even have any thoughts on you, because my mind is not on you. My mind is on what I'm taking care of. So anybody that I done looked in categories as somebody that's a bitch, then I forget about them. That's why I still got nothing but respect for Terrence Bud Crawford. I got nothing but respect for Errol Spence. I got nothing but respect for all these boxers that's out there that's throwing their hands and taking punches and getting beat and fighting back and getting up. I don't see none of these boxers as being no bitch. None of them. Not Canelo, not Demetrius Andrade, not Charlo, not fucking David Benavidez, not Josh Taylor, not Jose Ramirez, not fucking even Adrian Broner. And to me, Adrian Broner showed the most bitchiest type of, you know what I'm saying, mentality that you could show. Humping on motherfuckers and falling all over the ground. He got hit in the mouth, he falling all. And he has even repaid a lot of my respect in the way he's become after that shit. You know, not in the ring, but seeing him with his kids and seeing him just trying to mature and trying to grow and trying to become better. I ain't gonna call, how you gonna call him? I ain't calling none of these dudes no bitches. They ain't did nothing to me personally, period, point blank, for me to be, you know what I'm saying, attacking them in no shape, form, or fashion. Anybody attack me, then we got a problem. I ain't trying to call you no bad word. If you attack me, I ain't trying to call you nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to already have a motherfucking grave dug somewhere. If you got a problem with me on that level of disrespect, where it's like my life versus your life, I'm already trying to have a motherfucking grave hole dug somewhere for you. That's how I look at it. And if it ain't nothing like that, then it ain't worth degrading nobody and calling nobody bad names and slurs and disrespectful shit, and all because of what? I don't get that. That's just me. So I'm not calling Errol Spence no bitch because he ain't just come out and be like, I'm about to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. I expect him to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. I really do. I really do. I feel like that is just a fight that he needs on his resume. Period, point blank. But I think Terrence Bud Crawford needs that fight on his resume just as much. I mean, you can go back and look at what he done in his past, and when he was fighting these smaller guys and coming up and he did become unified and undisputed. Man, that's cool. Square business. That's cool beans. Cool. Salute, props, and kudos to you. And I cannot take away nothing from that. And the fact of the matter is, yes, you will be in the Hall of Fame based off of that accomplishment, and that is to be saluted. But it's not like you can just sit there and, you know what I'm saying, be celebrated and praised and put up on a pedestal for things that you have done when you're still active. It's not like people looking at you for what you have done. People are looking at you for what you are doing. And what you're doing is cool too. I ain't disrespecting the fight against American, even though I think American was not even a shell of itself. He was just a ghost of itself. I ain't disrespecting Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was a bull. He just didn't have no skills. You were supposed to go in there and do what you were supposed to do with him. Jose Benavidez, I ain't taking away nothing from that dude. That dude was a gangster, man. But at the end of the day, he was damaged good. He had a shotgun to his knee, and he only had like maybe 9 rounds with 2 fighters between the time he fought with Terrence Bud Crawford. That's not Terrence Bud Crawford fight. I'm just saying that dude wasn't at his best, and it would have been different, I think, if he would have been at his best, because he went 12 rounds even on the injured leg. You see what I'm saying? And Kell Brook, when he fought Kell Brook, I can't take away nothing from Kell Brook, but Kell Brook, to me, he also was a broken fighter. He was no longer, he was war-torn, and he wasn't the same. He wasn't the same when he fought Errol Spence, but he was a little bit in better condition because he had just come back from fighting Triple G. You know what I'm saying? But if he wouldn't have fought Triple G and then fought Errol Spence, I think that would have been a totally different fight. But I think he would have lost, but he wouldn't have been on his knee. You dig what I'm saying? He would have lost maybe by like 1 or 2 controversial rounds. So at the end of the day, man, I'm not looking at Errol Spence and just putting him on the pedestal and saying he can do no wrong. But I'm not gonna just sit there and look at Errol Spence and look at Terrence Bud Crawford as which one is your god. I mean, they both just good fighters that need to fight each other to prove who's the best between them two. And if it don't happen, I'm gonna look at both of them motherfuckers suspiciously. Like, what the fuck was both of y'all thinking to where neither one of y'all could make this fight happen one way or another? Because you can't just act like Terrence Bud Crawford did everything he needed to be doing. Get the fuck out of here. He has some issues with Bob Arum that you can't blame Bob Arum, but you gotta honestly admit that between him and Bob Arum, there is some kind of issue going on there. Motherfuckers leaving Bob Arum left and right. You know what I'm saying? He is doing people dirty since day one. That's his MO. And he doing Terrence Bud Crawford dirty. And if this fight don't happen between him and Errol Spence, you got to look at the whole situation with Bob Arum as a situation. You can't just ignore it. You can't say that's the definite reason for it not happening, because Errol Spence could make this fight happen. He would have to probably, you know what I'm saying, bend his fucking knee, and he would probably have to, you know what I'm saying, swallow his pride and let go of his ego and, you know what I'm saying, put his financial shit aside to a little bit and say, I'm just going to swallow all my shit and come down to this 50-50 or whatever. And I can't tell him to do that, but for the sake of all the fans, I wish he would do that. But I ain't going to sit here and tell the man he should take less than he's worth. And I ain't going to tell Terrence Bud Crawford to take less than what he's worth. They both need to sit their ass down and come to an arrangement. Fuck Bob Arum and fuck Al Heyman, and them two men need to come to the table as men and figure out how they can make the fight happen. And if they can't do that, and if they don't do that, then I'm going to look at both of them the same way. Wasted talent. You know what I'm saying? Like Sonny said, wasted talent. Or like, actually, Colosio C's dad said that Sonny was wasted talent. You know what I'm saying? Sonny had all the fucking brains and talent in the world, and he wasted it on the block, being a boss of a bunch of fucking, you know what I'm saying, going nowhere type of people, like coffee cake. Anyways, man, nothing but respect to Errol Spence, and nothing but respect to Terrence Bud Crawford and everybody else out there who's boxing and fighting and providing entertainment. But at the end of the day, if this fight never comes to fruition, however you want to say that word, if this fight never manifests and becomes a real fight that I'm going to be able to see with my eyes, blow for blow, round for round, pound for pound, if it don't go down, I'm going to look at Errol Spence and I'm going to look at Terrence Bud Crawford's career totally different than what I look at them now. I'm going to say both of those dudes did not do what they had to do to make this fight happen. And that's a damn shame. Period, point blank. And you can call it what you want to call it, but it's a shame, and it's an insult to the boxing history, all the warriors. Fuck the fans. The fans, we got fans is, to me, fans are fickle and fecal matter, but they fickle. You know what I'm saying? Fans is love you today, hate you tomorrow. But I'm talking about not even legacy wise. I'm talking about to represent your sport. You know what I'm saying? At the highest caliber, and to compare it to other guys that came before you, like the marvelous Marvin Hagler, and like the Tommy Hitman Hearns, and like the Sugar Ray Leonard, you know what I'm saying, and like the Sugar Ray Robinson, and you know what I'm saying, the Joe Lewis's and Muhammad Ali's and Joe Frazier's and George Foreman's, you know what I'm saying, like all those guys, and Chavez, you know what I'm saying, and the Macho Camacho, you know what I mean, like the Arturo Gotti's and the Floyd Money Mayweathers and the Shane Mosleys, you know what I'm saying, even Zab Judah's, Jack Johnson. If you want to look at these warriors and say that I deserve to sit at the table with them on the other side, when I get to Valhalla, when I go to heaven, when I die and my spirit go out there to be with the ancestors of the sport of boxing, you know what I'm saying, the boxing gods, you want to be amongst that elite level of warrior mentality, both of those guys need each other for that alone. Because if you don't fight somebody that is at your equal, that's going to push you to the ultimate limit, there should be some kind of always some kind of a shadow of a doubt in your mentality whether you could beat that person or whether you could beat yourself into a position to beat that person. Now, I understand why so many people pick Terrence Bud Crawford. The most boxing purists gonna pick Terrence Bud Crawford. Motherfucker is ambidextrous, switch hitter, pure boxer. So far, we haven't seen him, drinking, doing any kind of drugs. He stayed clean. He's been unified. You know what I'm saying? He's made these great accomplishments. And then I can see why a majority of casuals would like Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? If you watch his highlight reel, he's just bulldozing and knocking people out. And he seems like a force, like a juggernaut that can't be stopped. But then you watch his last couple of performances when he stepped up in competition, and Mikey was not a step up for him, but Mikey was serious competition. People just, oh, he didn't knock out Mikey Garcia. Oh, he didn't knock out Sean Porter. Please, he knocked down Sean Porter in a way that nobody else knocked down Sean Porter. You got to be honest about that shit. Sean Porter ain't just getting knocked down by nobody. And that flash knockdown against Adrian Broner, that shit don't count. Flash knockdowns don't count in comparison to what he got, the way he got dropped with Errol Spence. And even that wasn't just to where his glove touched the ground. Sean Porter is a beast. I didn't say my things about Sean Porter, but never denied his ability of being a fucking warrior and a beast, period, point blank. That dude's a little beast. You know what I'm saying? But the way he fucking handled Danny Garcia, and you look at Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter, you look at Danny Garcia versus Keith Thurman, and you look at Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence, it's night and day. You cannot take away anything from Errol Spence from that. But I just felt like Errol Spence, if he's firing on all cylinders, would be too much for Bud. But that was 2 years ago. And that was up to now when he fought Danny Garcia. I still think, honestly, that Errol Spence would need one more fight before he fought Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't think Errol Spence could come out of that performance against Danny Garcia and fight against Terrence Bud Crawford and win. I think he would lose. Period. And I'm an Errol Spence fan and a Terrence Bud Crawford fan. But if Errol Spence was to fight Terrence Bud Crawford right after that Danny Garcia fight, he would lose. He would. Danny Garcia was a tune-up fight. And if y'all motherfuckers don't take that into consideration and see how heavy that is, then y'all off kilter. Because Danny Garcia was a tune-up fight. Jose Cito Lopez was a tune-up fight for Keith Thurman. Was he tuned up enough to go in there and fight Manny Pacquiao? No. His body was still weak. His defense was suspect. He got caught coming out of the pocket straight back against Pac-Man, who's shorter reach. You think Keith Thurman, if he would have been really, really, really sharp and on point and on his best game, he would have lost to Manny Pacquiao? I really don't think so, honestly. Because he came back in that fight and was handling some business. But he just was, he not the same. Keith Thurman prime was gone. I don't think Keith Thurman ever going to be prime again. He's done. You see what I'm saying? Errol Spence, I still think he can prime. I think that accident was a setback, and that fight against Danny Garcia was a great, great, great tune-up. But was it the caliber of fight he needs going into Terrence Bud Crawford? Absolutely not. He needs to fight a Ugas. I know people don't want to hear that shit, but a Ugas would be, if you put Danny Garcia, make the perfect fighter, you put Danny Garcia and combine him with Ugas and combine that with Sean Porter, then you got Terrence Bud Crawford. You put 3 fighters together, maybe even 4. Throw some Kell Brook in there. Sprinkle in some Kell Brook. Some Sean Porter, some Danny Garcia, and Yordenis Ugas. Then you got Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford need to fight Sean Porter, though. Because he need to fight somebody that got that dog. Because Evis Kovalevskis is not him. And his last fight against Kell Brook is not going to prepare him for a really ready-to-go Errol Spence. Because Kell Brook was just shot. And Kell Brook his punch resistance was done. He took one good shot and he was done. It ain't because Terrence Bud Crawford is so damn strong. Terrence Bud Crawford is strong, but he ain't that damn strong. Kell Brook just not the same. Period, point blank. So Terrence Bud Crawford, if he was smart, he don't need to be jumping out of the frying pan into the fire and just fighting Errol Spence right now. Ain't neither one of those. He need to fight somebody. He need to fight a Sean Porter. Sean Porter would condition him perfectly for Errol Spence. Then you talking about a clash of the Titans. That's why I ain't just tripping that this fight ain't happening right now, because they both needed to work their way to where they could fight each other. Neither one of them was ready for each other when the people was talking about let's make them fight. People just want to see what they want to see when they want to see it. And then once the fight happens, they'll move on to the next and forget about that shit. So why would any boxer care what y'all want to see when y'all just some motherfuckers that don't really know how to appreciate and savor this shit? Y'all don't. Y'all would be on to the next. The people that said Terrence Bud Crawford will win if he win, they be like, I told you. You know what I'm saying? And then what? Man, it's getting late. I got a long day ahead of me. I'm finna call it one. So anyways, no. Not nowhere near looking like Errol Spence is no bitch to me or no pussy. Neither is Errol Spence, and neither is Terrence Bud Crawford, and neither is any of those guys. And Virgil Ortiz, no. He is not ready for Terrence Bud Crawford. If you go up there and fight Terrence Bud Crawford, I think he'll give it a hell of a shot, but it's going to look like some Canelo versus Mayweather. But I think Virgil Ortiz is very honest. He says he don't think he'll knock him out. He think it'll go to distance. He says he don't know if he's ready or not, but he think he's ready to go in there and learn and push himself, and you never know what can happen. Look at Lopez versus Lomachenko. That's a good mindset to have, because you don't know until you know. So you need to fight him. Terrence Bud Crawford need to fight. You need a fighter that's going to be ferocious. And Errol Spence need to get on ferocious mode. Errol Spence got to get off that chill mode shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't going to be able to go in there and do what he did against Danny Garcia to Terrence Bud Crawford. He ain't going to be able to go in there and do what he did against Mikey Garcia or Sean Porter. He got to have a combination of the total package. He has to be perfect to win this fight, and Terrence Bud Crawford has to be perfect to win this fight. And neither one of them is perfect right now. At all. Terrence Bud Crawford got dropped by the mean machine. He ain't perfect right now. He got to be better than that. All right, I'm out. I'm gone. I appreciate y'all time. Y'all make the best of y'all time. And be respectful. Respect. I'm out. Salute. Bye. Go.